And I hope you know.
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 Love,
Love.
and I hope you know.
And I hope you know.
And I hope you
Hey, folks.
know.
Welcome back down to the basement here with Pat at Ground Zero Salem. I thought I'd break up the brutality, the relentless brutality, make it relent. I got a package in the mail, some records from my buddies over at the Yoshiwara Collective of Northern Ireland, also known as Pariah Child Records. They sent me a package coming up on 2 years ago, it feels like now, at least over a year. That was like an interesting mix of some psychedelic rock from ST37, some kind of heavy stoner metal from Ogre, and some other treats. And Gary hit me up on private messenger on Facebook a while back, telling me he had another package for me headed in the mail. They've been really into doing kind of like folk and ambient and noise stuff, which admittedly isn't particularly my forte. It's stuff that I appreciate. The closest I come to knowing that kind of thing very well is being a huge Dead Can Dance fan. Into a lot of Swan stuff, especially the prettier era of the Swans, Burning World, and those records. I like some project record stuff, 4AD kind of things. So it's nice to break up the relentless mosh parts and gurgly, guttural vocals with a little bit of mood and atmosphere. Right now, we're listening to not one of their releases, but a release from one of their buddies over in England, Aesthetic Death Records, who do a lot of funeral doom and kind of experimental black metal stuff. This is Epistolatory of the Fall. It's a 2-song release. Tome of the Unreplenished and Starless Domain. Tome of the Unreplenished is the track playing right now. It's, as you can hear, kind of ambient noise, kind of black and dark. It's got a real like sucking void, really kind of insidious kind of vibe to it. And the second song, which you may hear if this is a lengthy update, leans more into like a sort of a musical kind of approach where there's a lot of textures and kind of booming and creaking and that sort of stuff, but there's also blast beats, guttural vocals, all kind of layered, and the musical elements of it really go along with the backdrop of all the noisy textures quite well. Lots of odd synths and just real menacing kind of sound. So the first thing I want to talk about, this just came out on Pariah Child and Yoshiwara. This is United Bible Studies, Cave Hill Ascension. This band's been around for a minute, as they say. And by that I mean about 19 years, it looks like. They're from the UK and Ireland. This is the most musical thing that they sent me. They are self-described as apocalyptic folk. Hearing that, I was sort of thinking maybe it was something along the lines of like Death in June or some kind of martial neo-folk kind of stuff. Not really like that at all. Sort of a pleasant surprise because I have enough of that stuff kicking around. This is got a lot of angelic, sort of haunting female vocals all over it. 4 songs on it, 2 very long tracks and 2 kind of normal length songs. One of the first songs about 20 minutes long, I think. It's called Bless Us and Break Us with Mystery Upon Mystery. Yeah, very spaced out, you know, kind of epic, sort of yearning, angelic sounding kind of music with a lot of haunting keyboards and haunting vocals. There's the occasional like piano flourish on it. Very minimalist, like a couple of notes here and there. Brings it together really well. a crooner, like male vocalist on this that is featured on the shorter songs, The Heart Lies Over and Over. Very creepy, kind of repetitive vocal lines in it. That's just like essentially the title of the song sung. It's very enjoyable. United Bible Studies. I'm not the best at drawing comparisons with other bands and describing this stuff as I am with metal. So I'll be putting sound clips in between bits and pieces where I'm trying to find the words to describe this sort of celestial, heavenly, yet somewhat foreboding kind of music.
The heart lies over and over. The heart lies. The heart lies over and
Up next is this came at the right time because I've been getting more and more into Italian Doom. This is a solo project by Regen Graves, who works with Abysmal Grief. He's a member of Abysmal Grief and has done stuff on the more recent Tony Tears material. Italian project, one-man project here. Very sort of almost kind of horror soundtrack, kind of vibes to it. It doesn't go out of its way to be really obvious with trying to sound exactly like something from a Hammer horror film. It definitely gets very minimalist at points, but also leans from being a score more to a soundtrack at certain points where it kind of starts to resemble actual songs. Very dark, very menacing. It's got a lot of almost kind of like 70s Moog kind of sounding keys on it. I don't know if that's exactly what they actually are, but they certainly sound like it. Kind of goes into almost sort of sci-fi textures with it, with the kind of zappy noises and stuff like that. If you like the stuff this guy's done with Tony Tears, this is definitely worth looking into. It's very good. It's very nice, relaxing, but kind of dark and eerie sort of music, ambient noise, whatever you want to call it. Stuff. I'll post a little sample here. And then Bruxa, which is a Berlin-based dark noise ambient project. Also very kind of like foreboding and horror movie kind of aesthetic and feel to it, although this is a little bit more on the straight up creepy side. There's a lot of like creaking footsteps following you in the dark kind of noises. It's a little bit more spaced out. It's one long track on this, just one song, and I don't even know if it's titled anything. Just From the Depths, I'm assuming. But yeah, very, very moody and atmospheric and dark. So I'll put another sound clip right here. Thanks again to Gary. Kind of a short update. You know, sometimes I struggle with words with this kind of stuff because it's new to me, but I think if you are a fan of anything in the realm of dungeon synth, 4AD stuff, Project Record stuff, Swans, you know, you'd probably find something worthwhile in any of these releases. and I hope you enjoy them. Right now, playing in the background, like I said, is this Epistolatory of the Fall. You know, it's weird, just to mention this, just because we have another couple of minutes here to spit, so this isn't too short. I had a really weird nightmare this afternoon when I was taking my afternoon nap of, I don't remember the back plot of the dream, you know, like most dreams, they don't make any sense. But I had just pulled into a garage with some people I was hanging out with. For some reason, I was driving this little like golf cart car that was a convertible. It was like a one-seater. And I was like battening down the hatches, pulling up the little roof of it. And it was this massive garage where you could also see outside. And somebody was mentioning like, oh, there's a storm coming. Ooh, that's a really bad one. And the sky looked like volcanic ash. Like it wasn't just like a lot of dark clouds, like it was black and swirling with flecks of like red in it. And I don't know if that's because I had a bunch of this music on the brain or not, but it was like one of the more scary apocalyptic dreams I've had in my lifetime. And I can't help but think what's playing in the background and this cover art kind of brings to mind like that dream. I don't know if I had this stuff on the brain. It's like, I gotta get that Yoshiwara update out or not. It's very weird. Like I don't wake up in cold sweats to dreams anymore. That hasn't happened since I was a kid. But I kind of woke up like, all right, time to listen to a bunch of apocalyptic noise folk and gather my thoughts and talk about these bands. That dream is a better description of all this stuff than any of the babbling this past like 10 minutes or so that I put out there. But check out the links. They'll all be below. I hope you like the sound clips. Check out the music. You know, it's great background stuff. I put it on at work a bunch of times, and I constantly listen to death metal, hardcore, you know, all this brutal stuff at work where I don't have many coworkers that are around while I'm actively listening to music. But this stuff has frightened and spooked out my coworkers far more than any of the brutal death metal or black metal that I've been listening to at work since I started there, for what it's worth. All right, have a good week. I will see you folks probably on Friday to get back into more death metal. Peace out.